This little hidden gem is located in the center of a parking lot of a shopping center. And to understand what's behind these shrubs and the location as a whole, we have to go back in time. In the early 1800s, this land was once a plantation owned by wealthy farmers. A man named James Burke started this plantation in 1821. He married his wife Matilda, who already had land of her own. The two parties combined their lands, which ended up creating a larger region of ownership. Sometime during the Burkes' plantation days, a cemetery was created on their land. As time went on, this land was used for different purposes, one of those being a resort, and in the 1980s, a horse farm. Eventually, the land was sold by the Burkes' descendants. The descendants had ownership right to the cemetery and would not sign off on moving it. The preservation of the cemetery was honored in the sales agreement. Once the land was sold, it was then turned into a shopping center. During construction, they worked their way around the cemetery, and it was left untouched. This little hidden gem is a cemetery that holds the people that once owned this land 2 centuries ago. It holds James and Matilda Burkes, along with their 2 sons and infant, who is located behind them. The depiction of wealth was shown through the height and the style of the monuments. What I found interesting on this particular monument is that the top piece of it seems to have shifted somehow, and it makes me wonder if back in the day, to make monuments, all they did was stack stones on top of each other instead of having some sort of support beam in the center connecting all the pieces together. If the stone was actually just stacked on top of the bottom piece, how could it have shifted? Could it have been the earth below causing it to shift due to changing form over time? Or could it be due to the weathered stone somehow? We weren't sure exactly what these 2 pieces were, but one of them for sure looked like part of a monument. We were wondering if the stone wall was as old as the cemetery just because the stone kind of looks hand-cut and hand-laid, and the way that one side of the wall curves out and how some areas have separated layers. It makes you wonder if the movement of the stone is coinciding with the movement of the earth all these years. This is the view when you're standing at the rear of the cemetery, looking through the entrance. And as you can see, there is a view of a modern store. It makes you wonder, 200 years ago, what was this view through this entrance? Was it their plantation home? Or was it just fields of their crops? Not many people know about this little piece of history that's behind these evergreen shrubs. As you can see here, many people drive by and go about their day doing their errands and business, not knowing that what lies behind these shrubs is actually tied to the very land that they are driving over. Makes you wonder, what other hidden gems are lying in plain sight?